multiverse trembled, not because of gods or celestial entities, but due to the footsteps of two walking cataclysms destined to collide. In one corner of existence stood a being whose fury had shattered tectonic plates, whose mere heartbeat destabilized entire continents, World Breaker Hulk. In the other, a cosmic juggernaut powered by the enigmatic energies of the Trion dimension, whose momentum could not be stopped even by the gods. Trion Juggernaut. But how did such beings of immense might cross paths? The tale begins in the ruins of Sakaar, a world Hulk once called home, a planet he both saved and accidentally destroyed. After the catastrophic detonation of the warp core aboard the shuttle that brought him to Sakaar, the explosion obliterated his new kingdom, his queen Kyera, and his unborn child. Hulk blamed Earth's heroes for the deception and returned to Earth in a hurricane of rage, birthing the era of the World Breaker. But what many do not know is that when Sakaar exploded, fragments of its core, infused with old power, were flung through the multiversal fissures, tearing into forgotten dimensions. One such shard breached the Trion realm, an otherworldly plane beyond mortal comprehension, a place of symmetry, chaos, and power beyond all reason. It is a dimension that governs fundamental balances of existence. The arrival of Sakaar's essence, steeped in vengeance and loss, began corrupting the delicate balance of the Trion dimension, triggering a breach. Sensing the disturbance, the Trion force awakened its guardian, Cain Marco, the Juggernaut. But this was no ordinary version. This was not the man powered merely by the crimson gem of Sitarak. This was a fully realized Trion Juggernaut, a being who had become a living embodiment of unstoppable cosmic equilibrium. His body shimmered with geometries of starlight, and his strength now matched the very will of the Trion realm itself. He did not protect a city, a world, or a galaxy. He was the shield and the sword of a dimension. Meanwhile, Hulk, still burdened by the trauma of Sakaar and the betrayal of Earth's heroes, began wandering through space, still glowing with the energy that had once cracked continents beneath his feet. Though his rage had cooled to a smolder, it had not vanished. He was now calmer, more calculating, but still capable of untold devastation. Through mysterious energies left behind from the Sakaar core shard, Hulk was pulled across dimensional boundaries into the Trion realm. The moment he stepped foot into that dimension, the plane began to quake. The Trion realm, built on symmetry and balance, immediately rejected Hulk's very essence, his rage, his chaos, his power. The ancient laws of Trion deemed him an anomaly, and thus an immediate threat to all existence within the dimension. And so, Trion Juggernaut came. The first sighting was like a collapsing star. Juggernaut stood on the horizon like a moving monument, cloaked in the harmonics of collapsing timelines. His armor radiated infinite power, humming with the pulse of reality itself. He bore the Trion sigil on his chest and wielded forces unknown to Earth's greatest minds. He had faced cosmic beasts, astral entities, and pan-dimensional invaders. But never had he faced pure, unfiltered wrath incarnate. Hulk, upon seeing this glowing behemoth, narrowed his eyes. "Another god in armor," he muttered. "Another fool trying to stop me." But the Trion Juggernaut did not speak. His voice carried through harmonic resonance that echoed inside Hulk's mind. "You are the anomaly. You must be purged to restore balance." Hulk's fists tightened. "You can try." The realm itself braced, Trion geometries twisted. The energies that held dimensions in check began to flutter. Observers from beyond the veil, the Watchers, the Celestials, even fragments of the living tribunal turned their gaze toward this convergence. One creature of boundless will, one being of unyielding force. two unstoppable titans, a single fate. The battle had not begun, but the universe already wept in anticipation. The skies of the Trion realm darkened, not because of clouds, but because the very symmetry of reality bent around the two juggernauts. Each step Hulk took cracked the radiant lattice of the Trion floor, while Trion Juggernaut's presence stabilized the chaos around him like an immovable anchor. And then they charged. The first impact shook the laws of motion. Hulk's fist collided with Juggernaut's chest with such fury that planets in distant dimensions felt a ripple. But Juggernaut didn't budge, not even a millimeter. His body absorbed the kinetic force like a black hole swallowing a comet. Juggernaut responded with a hammering punch of his own, laced with Trion harmonics, slamming into Hulk's jaw and sending the green behemoth flying through multiple rings of crystalline dimension. Hulk crashed through glowing geometry, each shard slicing through his skin like razors laced with cosmic energy. But instead of blood, Hulk roared, and his wounds sealed almost instantly, his body adapting, growing stronger, angrier. He came back, leaping like a meteor. "You can't stop me!" he roared. This time he didn't punch, he tore. Hulk gripped one of the energy rings Juggernaut used to manipulate dimensional mass and ripped it apart, using the fragments as weapons. He hurled them like massive chakrams, slicing across Juggernaut's armor. The impact sent explosions of light across the horizon. Juggernaut slid back. A step. For the first time in eons, something made him yield momentum. Juggernaut raised both fists and brought them down in a hammer-like blow. Hulk caught it. The clash cracked the air, sound vanishing in the shockwave. Space bent, matter twisted. The Trion realm, sensing instability, began manifesting constructs, guardians of balance, abstract manifestations of logic and order to suppress the fight. But the constructs barely got close before Hulk and Juggernaut obliterated them mid-swing. The battle evolved. Juggernaut channeled the full force of Trion's core, turning his body into a vortex of cosmic mathematics. Each punch now carried the weight of collapsing probability. Every move he made was backed by the deterministic force of a whole realm. He became a storm of inevitability. But Hulk became something more. The more Juggernaut pushed him, the more the world breaker emerged. His eyes glowed with green nuclear fury. His skin pulsed with rage-born gamma so dense that it began affecting the Trion plane's fabric. Every time Juggernaut knocked Hulk down, Hulk got up stronger. Every time Juggernaut buried him in constructs, Hulk exploded out. Every blow traded turned prophecy into rubble. Until it happened. Hulk did what no being had ever done. He moved Trion Juggernaut. He drove his shoulder into Juggernaut's core with such primal force that Juggernaut was lifted, thrown through a monolith that had anchored the Trion dimension since its birth. The monolith shattered. Trion Juggernaut landed kneeling, his armor flickering. The Trion realm trembled. This was no longer a matter of balance. It was survival. Juggernaut stood again. "You are chaos incarnate," he said, his voice echoing in broken harmonics. "And I am the answer." With a roar that could level realities, Juggernaut unleashed the Trion Singularity Punch, a move so devastating it had only been used once before, against a sentient, collapsing sun. Hulk caught it head-on. The explosion turned space inside out. Both combatants vanished in the blinding surge. Silence. Then, from the smoking ruin of geometry and light, a green hand rose. Hulk stood, Burnt, bloodied, breathing heavily, but standing, Trion Juggernaut lay embedded deep in the fractured core of the realm, unmoving, his armor shattered and glowing red. The punch had nearly torn Hulk apart, but his rage had evolved him again. His muscles were denser, skin darker, almost obsidian with gamma compression. His heart beat like a war drum. The Trion realm accepted the inevitable. Hulk was not a force to be tamed. Not now. But Hulk didn't gloat. He didn't roar. He looked at Juggernaut and said, low, almost grieving, "You tried to stop me, but nothing stops me when I'm angry." And then he left, leaping into the rift he had torn upon entry. The dimension sealed behind him, weeping in silence. Somewhere the Watchers whispered. The living tribunal turned his gaze, and far away in another realm, a god asked, if Juggernaut couldn't stop him, who can?